landscape, but I'm stuck portrait now because that's wherever you start, you're stuck there. It's the way it goes. Um, Welcome to another live stream, celebration of a new season. It's cold outside, and so I have a hat, but it's good. I think that part of the whole point of this 13 seasons thing is that we be outside with the seasons. I am just barely getting a little bit good at this. It's something, but I know that the more I spend outside with the seasons, the more like, and not just be in my house closed off from the world, the more I can learn from the weather and conditions and nature of each season about the. I'm just looking at the nature here, enjoying this. The more I can learn, look at what I'm enjoying. This is what I'm enjoying. I'm enjoying this. See, I can enjoy this. And the more I enjoy this, the more I can notice things out in nature that in this nature of the seasons that helps me to figure out about that season. So, I mean, it's different in different parts of the world, right? But I'm here. And so what can I learn here? Well, it's the Know Yourself season, and it's kind of cold and chilly outside. And so it's tempting to, to not be outside, to like kind of stay inside and run away. But that's kind of what knowing yourself is about, right? Like it's when you spend time with yourself, it can be uncomfortable. There can be things about yourself that you'd rather run away from, rather not spend time with. But Eckhart Tolle says, to kind of paraphrase him, he says a really cool idea that I was listening to 2 days ago. He says that Eckhart Tolle says that if you have unpeace, if you don't feel peace, you can't. The fighting unpeace doesn't create peace. When you're, hello Among Us, hello Aaron, hello Will. When you don't feel peace, when you feel like that conflict inside yourself, fighting it, being like, I don't want to feel this way, and fighting it doesn't help. The only way to peace is to accept how you feel. So it's just a matter of being like, I don't feel peace right now, and I accept that I feel whatever I'm feeling. And when you accept that, then that is where peace comes from. So I go outside and it's not cold out here. It is cold out here and I'm wearing a nice hat because it's cold and I might be kind of like, I don't really like this. But it's a chance to practice just accepting the weather as it is and just accepting cold. Cold's only really, it's not so cold I'm going to get hurt or anything. It's not dangerously cold. And cold is only a problem if I fight it. But if I just accept it, then it doesn't feel like a problem anymore. It's the fighting it's the problem. And that's what it's like with ourselves. And we fight. We don't want to welcome Lucas. Welcome Jay. We don't want to feel what we're feeling. Like a lot of times we don't want to be alone with ourselves. Like a lot of times I do this. You have a moment where you're all by yourself and you're like, I don't want to be here right now. I don't want to be by myself. And so you start whipping out your phone and you start just reading things on your phone and stuff like that. And when you do that, it's like you're like running away from that time with yourself. Okay. So that's a little lesson about the cold, from the cold I'm getting right now, as I just let myself feel the cold here. Now, here on this channel on 13 seasons, what we're doing is we've divided the year into 13 parts, and during each of the 13 parts, we take, we look at a different virtue that is valuable to us. And each of the virtues helps us grow one season at a time. And during the last 30 days before now, we were focusing on discerning truth, on being able to figure out how to tell what's true and helpful and what's not in life. There's a lot of messaging out there, which is the true messaging that's helpful. And now we now we are focusing on knowing yourself for this season. So usually we like to start these by asking people how they have grown over the last 30 days. So that's why I use the comments thread right now at the beginning of these. So my question for you all is, in the last 30 days, how have you grown? And we take time to celebrate that. And so you can go ahead and put in the comments, in the chat, ways you've grown in the last 30 days, and we celebrate it. And Lucas, it's okay. But you can think about it, like last 30 days, how I've grown. I'm going to tell you how I've grown in the last 30 days. So over the last 30 days, one of the ways I've grown is I have really learned how to be okay with sadness. And that's been really interesting. I've learned this sort of idea that, like, rather than being like, because I'm like, I didn't want to be happy, and if I'm not happy, I feel like there's something wrong. But I've learned to just be like, you know what, when I'm sad, that's okay. I can just let myself be sad and just kind of experience that. And I think that, we're focused on truth in the last 30 days. I think that's part of it, right? Is like accepting, acknowledging the truth of just whatever you feel, instead of trying to make yourself feel a certain way. I'm learning to get beyond the point where I try to think that the point of my life is to be happy all the time, and get to the point where I just accept whatever feelings I have. So anyone who wants to, you can give me a good huzzah, because celebrate with me. I've done. And then Will says, who's on a Jamie Wagner account, Will says, I went on a walk 2 times this week. Going on walks is rad. It's really good for you. The Nordic countries. Yeah, good job. Thank you, Jay. Good job. Good job. Keep going with your walks. On that note, in the Nordic countries, like in the countries like Finland and Norway and the countries up in that part of the world, it's fame up there. They're famously happy. They have like really high happiness ratings up there, like on when they test people, see how happy they are. And it's weird because it's a really cold place. Like during the winters, it's extremely cold there, but people just keep measuring and being really happy there. And one of the things they find that they track to that is that even when it's cold, they go on walks still. So people in those places, like going on walks is really important. So when it's really cold, they'll just bundle up with really warm clothes and they'll go on like an hour-long walk, either by themselves or with other people, no matter how cold it is. I think there's something about just getting outside, no matter what, and just being outside that is good. Maybe this is why it's good to have a dog, is the dog gets you outside to walk it. Anyone else want to report at all in the chat about any ways you've grown in the last 30 days that you want to celebrate? Hello. All right. I want to talk about what we're going to be focusing on in 13 seasons over the next 30 days, which is knowing yourself. And the first thing about knowing yourself that I think is really important is learning how to have joy in being you right now. So in my experience, most people in the world, and this has been me most of my life, I'm just barely learning to not do this. Most people have a list of things that they think they need to do, and when they cross off all those things, then they can like themselves. They have things like, once I lose this much weight, then I can like myself. Or once I get these kind of grades, then I can like myself. Once I'm the moderator, then I can like myself. Or once I have this certain job, I can like myself. Or once I get a girlfriend, I can like myself. And we make a list of things, and we think that we have to cross off everything on that list in order to start liking ourselves. I'm learning, though, I have learned, that doesn't work. Because, one, we usually don't cross off our list. like you try and you just don't make it. And then you just feel inadequate. You don't feel like you're good enough because you can't cross everything off your list. You're like, man, I'm still not popular, or I'm still fat, or I'm still kind of like awkward, or I still don't have good grades, or I'm still dumb, or I'm not good at art. And we have these things that we think, oh man, because of that, I just can't like myself. And then we feel like garbage. And we try to like ignore it and pretend it. We don't feel that way, but we do deep down inside, and it sucks. And then even if you do check off one of those things, like let's say you pull it off and you're like, yeah, I did it. I did the thing, and now I can like myself. But the problem is that once you do it, you get like that little boost for just a moment. It's like for a little bit of time, you're like, oh yeah, I was able to do the thing. I got better grades, or I lost weight, or I made more money, or whatever. And you're like, I like myself now. But then after just a little bit of time passes, that feeling goes away, and then you feel like you have to do something else in order to start liking yourself. You never ever get there. So I propose a different way of looking at this. That we learn how to like ourselves just because it's amazing that we're alive. Say, it's amazing I'm alive, it's amazing I have feelings, it's amazing I exist, therefore I like myself. That's the only reason why. And then once you can learn to do that, then you can still have a list, but instead of being like, I got to do the things on my list in order to like myself, you can say, because I love myself, I'll do some of these things as a gift to me. You know, I might lose that weight still, but I'm going to lose it because I love me and it's something I want to do for me, but I don't have to do it to like myself. And so that changes everything. And it's so much more motivating because when you get to this point and you fail at something, you can fail forward. So instead of failing and going, oh, I failed, now I suck, you fail and go, oh, I failed. Well, I like myself. I failed. I still like myself. What can I learn from that? Lesson learned, and move forward. Failing doesn't interrupt your sense of self-esteem at all when you can get to that point. It's really powerful stuff. It's something I want for me and for you. So how do you get there, right? How do you learn how to do that? There's no perfect answer. I think everyone has to get there a different way. But I would like to tell you a few things that can help, and you can see which ones work for you. And you can, as I talk about these few things that can help with that, you can think, like listen to the things I say. And maybe one of them strikes something inside you with one of these, makes you go, that one might help me. And if you feel that, you can go ahead and give it a shot. So, here's idea number one. Get some journal about reasons you like yourself. So get some paper out, and you could do this just once. You could do it every day. Just write down why you like yourself. You could even write a letter to yourself and be like, dear self, I love you. And then write all the reasons why. Now here's the thing. When you look at your reasons, if your reasons why are like, I like you because you're handsome, or I like you because you're good at soccer, or I like you because, you're a great writer or something like that. You're good at video games. If it's all like things, the skills you have, that's okay. Now dig deeper. Find the reasons you like yourself that have nothing to do with things you're good at. I like you because you are. I like you because how do I say this? I like you because you are. I like you because you're with me all the time. I like you because you never abandon me. I mean, we don't abandon ourselves. We're always with ourselves, right? Think about some things like that, like, and you can even like, yeah, you can just like dig in there and just kind of like dig deep inside yourself and find out, like discover why you like yourself. That's one thing. Another thing you can do is just look yourself in the mirror every day, give yourself a big hug, or multiple times a day, and say, and look at yourself in the eye and say, I love you, or I like you. You are enough. Just say that to yourself every day in the mirror with the big hug. See, and you know, if you just do it every day for long enough, you'll start believing it. Another technique is called tapping. So tapping is where you just tap on like certain points of your body while oh, I love that. I love that, Will Jamie. Great emoji. Tapping is a really cool proven technique that psychologists are using more and more and more, where you pick a spot in your body and you tap there. And as you tap, you can like say things and it helps your body believe that. So, you can also let go of things, like let go of false messages. So you can try, you know, it works. There's certain spots by it work really well. Like you can kind of be instinctual. You can just kind of say to yourself, huh, where do I feel like tapping? Like right now, it feels right to me like tap right here. I don't know why, but often places people often tap is like right here, right here, right here, right here, right here, right in the center of like right here is one, like right there. This place, sometimes people, the ear can be a good one too. For some reason, I'm feeling like on the side of my nose is the right thing for me right now. And so you can tap here and you can say releasing, and then say what you want, say messages that you want to release. You can try something right now. So you can tap right here and be like, releasing, I'm not good enough. Releasing, I need to prove I have worth. Releasing, I'll never measure up. You just tap and say this out loud with me. Releasing, I'm an imposter. Releasing, I'm not as good as people think I am. Releasing, I secretly suck. And then you can tap in new messages that are more helpful. Usually I take the other hand and just do the other side. So I can say, accepting I am enough. Accepting I like being me. Accepting I'm my own best friend. Accepting I'm whole and healed. Accepting I treat people well, easily and naturally. Accepting I have fun being me. So that's the kind of thing you can do. And so if you just kind of like do that, you just follow your instincts, you know? Just tap wherever it just kind of feels right to you to tap with one hand and just say releasing and just see what phrases come to your head and just try releasing them. And then say accepting and just accept whatever phrases come to your head. Follow your instincts. See how that goes. If you like this tapping thing, there's something called emotional freedom technique, which is the technique of tapping like this. So you can something that can help is you can just do a Google search for emotional freedom technique, or like search on the the Play Store or the App Store, and there's apps that have like that'll lead. There's like YouTube videos and apps that'll lead you through this process where they'll like show you what spots to tap and what to say. So you can like type in the app, I'm feeling depressed, and then it will give you like where to tap if you're feeling depressed. You just look for an emotional freedom technique or EMF app, and there's a bunch out there, and download it, and that can be like really helpful to you. So I hope that was helpful to you. Just a few ideas of things you can try doing to learn to like yourself. It's okay to like yourself. I give you permission to do so. Okay. Another principle of knowing yourself that can be really helpful is objectivity. So what I mean by objectivity is kind of like thinking about like a scientist. Like scientists have to learn to be objective. When scientists do experiments, if they want, they can't think of, if scientists think of like things are good or bad, it gets in the way of the experiment. So like if a scientist is, testing something and they want a certain result, like they want it to be a certain way, then when they test it and they look at the results, it's going to be hard for them to just like accept whatever is. Because the goal of a scientist isn't to make the world the way they think it should be. The goal of a true scientist is to find out how the world actually is. And so it's important for them to learn to be objective and accept whatever's true, no matter what it is. And we can do that with ourselves. It's really good to be curious about ourselves and to like learn new things about ourselves. There's a really good movie I like called Me and Earl and the Dying Girl. And in the movie, the main character's friend is dying, and he, in the whole movie, he's like spending time with her, and at the end of the movie, and he thinks he knows her really well, and because he spends lots of time with her as she's dying. Then at the end of the movie, the very very end, he finds out something about her that he never knew. He like thought he knew her well, and then he discovers she has this talent that he had no idea she had. Like it's like there's this whole other like side and dimension to her he had no idea about. And he argues there's so much more he can learn and know about her. And that's like with ourselves. Like there's lots of nooks and crannies of who we are that we don't realize about ourselves. And we spend our whole life getting to know ourselves. And when we find ourselves in different situations and notice how we react to those situations, we discover all sorts of new things about who we are. But if we're not objective, then fear will keep us from learning about ourselves. Like, because a lot of us, we're so afraid that I might be really afraid that I suck. Like I'm really afraid that I won't like who I am. And so I try to like pretend, I like avoid really knowing myself because I'm afraid of what I'll find. But if we're objective, if we just say whatever is, I'm not going to freak out. It doesn't have to mean anything. It just is. Then with that objectivity, we can really like be open-minded to just seeing whatever there is about us. And it doesn't have to like throw us off our loop. It just is. So I really recommend learning to be objective about yourself. And you can like love yourself and be objective about yourself at the same time. It just means that like no matter what happens, you just keep that love. Like what you learn about yourself you don't have emotion, you're not emotionally invested in like yourself being a certain way. You just accept whatever is and just love whatever is. And then I want to say a word about dependability or integrity. So, if you and I have dependability, have integrity, which means that when we say to people that we're going to do a certain thing, that we do it, that like we represent ourselves honestly to people and they know who we are, and we don't like say one thing and then do another. Like we show up when we say we're going to show up. We're there. We're predictably there for people in ways that they need us. When we're that way for people, it's really powerful. When we're that way for people, they're willing to trust us with things. And it's important to be that way for ourselves, to give that kind of service to oneself. So like as you decide, things you want to do for yourself, which is important, right? You need to take care of yourself. Like show up for yourself so yourself can trust you. You can trust yourself, show up for yourself. If you say to yourself, you know what, I'm going to do this thing for me, then do it. Show up for yourself. Prove to yourself that you can trust yourself. So, Will's been going on his walks. He's liking it. Maybe Will's going to make a commitment to him. You don't have to do this, but if Will wants to make a commitment to himself, he's going to walk, a certain amount or something, then, show up for yourself and follow through on your commitment to yourself so you can trust yourself. And if you don't do that, be objective about it. You don't have to say, oh, I didn't do it and now I suck. You can just be like, no, I didn't do it. Why? What's going on? Instead of being like all upset about it, it's just like, huh, what happened? What was going on? And just evaluate the situation objectively and figure out where you want to go from there. Okay. I want to say a word or two about a guy named Jesus. I like Jesus. I want to point out that sometimes when people talk about Jesus, they talk about this guy who was just like perfectly loving, that was just helping people all the time. And Jesus, I believe, really was good at helping people. And Jesus took care of himself. There's lots of stories in the Bible about how Jesus would like spend time by himself. He would go out by himself into like the wilderness, and just spend some time like meditating or like praying or like just like being away to like take care of his own needs. He took care of himself. We don't have a lot of record about like what exactly that looked like because he was private. Like he took time for himself away from people, so people weren't there to write about what he was doing. We don't know. But we know he was taking care of himself. Another thing is that, he, from the age of 30 to 33, he like did all the stuff everyone writes about. So for 3 years of his life, he was like out just like helping people like crazy. But for the first 30 years of his life, he was just not doing that. And we don't know what he was doing, but all we know is that he was growing in favor with God and man and growing in wisdom and stature. He was taking care of himself. He spent 30 years taking care of himself, getting ready, whereas at the point that he could go do something for others. So taking care of ourselves is really, really important. It's like the oxygen mask, right? Like on an airplane, they say if we, if there's turbulence, you want to put the oxygen mask on, but they say put it on yourself first, then put it on the person next to you. And so it's important. We gotta like take care of ourselves before we're ready to take care of others. Usually. All right. That is all I have to say today, unless any of you have any questions. So if anyone has any questions about knowing yourself that they want me to like address, go ahead and put those in the chat now. And then if not, we'll start wrapping up. We're gonna wrap. We usually want to end this with a meditation, so I'm just gonna lead us all through a short meditation to end this. I'm just wait just a second to see if anyone has a question in the chat. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and move forward with meditation. So I'm just gonna lead us through very, very short. I'll just tell you what to, and you just follow along with me. We'll do a short little meditation. It'll be awesome. I'm gonna go over here and sit on this railing right here for this meditation. It's gonna be awesome. Okay, so just go ahead and get comfortable. Whatever feels comfortable for you. It's good to have your back straight if you can. You might close your eyes if that feels right to you, or you can leave them open. Whatever. Meditation can look like so many different things. So whatever feels right to you. I'm gonna go ahead and close my eyes. So you can close your eyes. Just breathe. As you breathe, it's like you're moving through outer space. And the stars and the galaxies are all around you. And you become aware of a bright light. And you look at the bright light and you see yourself surrounded by light. And you have a strong sense of like, this is the goal. And you realize that you're looking at yourself in the future, at the wonderful person you're going to become, the person you're moving towards becoming. Notice what attributes this person has. What things are they good at? What are their strengths? How are they helpful to other people? In what ways are they a good friend? 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 In And then look at yourself as you are now. And be aware of seeds inside you. And you realize that these are the seeds of the self you will become. The seeds are already inside you right now. And let those seeds be planted deep in the earth inside your body. And they start to grow up into trees. And notice what your body feels like when you've become that person you want to be. When you've become that person, what's your posture like? What sensations are in your body? What feelings are in your body when you've become that person? And let yourself just feel like you're that person now. Then go ahead and open your eyes. Shake if you can do something. It's kind of nice to shake a bit. It can be good to shake after a meditation for some reason. Then it's just kind of, it can be kind of intense, and it can be just good to like kind of shake into things. So you can kind of shake a bit, smile, enjoy your best self. Bye.